Now I move to the situation with oil. Do you remember drill, baby, drill? Of course you do. Famous words from now President Donald Trump. As you will see, that's no longer possible according to the companies in this sector of the economy. And the information comes from the regular survey of the International Energy Agency, which is part of the system of the United Nations. Simply put, because of the lower price of oil and the higher price of steel because of the special 25 tariff on steel to be imported to the United States, it's not longer, doesn't make any business sense to invest in new drilling. But let me give you the details. Global oil demand growth for 2025 has been revised down by 300,000 barrels per day since last month report to 730,000 barrels per day, as escalating trade tensions have negatively impacted the economic outlook. Growth is expected to slow further in 2026 to 690,000 barrels per day, but risks to the forecast remain rife given the fast-moving macro backdrop. The downgrade comes on the heels of robust oil consumption in the first Q of this year, up by 1.2 million barrels per day, year on year, its strongest rate since 2023. Global oil prices tumbled by around $10 per barrel in March and early April, as risk sentiment soared in the wake of proliferating US tariffs and mounting recession fears. This decision by some OPEC Plus members to accelerate the unwinding of extra voluntary production cuts added to the bearish momentum. After a period of relative calm, global oil markets were roiled by a barrage of trade tariff announcements in early April. Benchmark crude oil prices plunged to their lowest levels in 4 years on a sharp escalation in trade tensions and the prospect of higher supplies from some OPEC Plus countries. Brent futures tumbled by more than $15 a barrel to below $60, but subsequently recovered to around $65 after the implementation of some of the tariffs was postponed. While imports of oil, gas, and refined products were given exemptions from the tariffs announced by the United States, concerns that the measures could stoke inflation, slow economic growth, and intensify trade disputes weighed on oil prices. With negotiations and countermeasures still ongoing, the situation is fluid and substantial risks remain. We have lowered the economic growth assumptions that underpin our forecasts at the agency, leading to 400,000 barrels per day reduction in expected oil demand growth for the remainder of the year. We now forecast an annual global demand increase of 730,000 barrels per day for 2025 as a whole. The downward spiral in oil prices was also fueled by the surprise decision of 8 OPEC Plus members, which were party to voluntary cuts since November 2023, to triple their scheduled production target increases for May to 411,000 barrels per day. However, the actual increase may be much smaller, as a number of countries, including Kazakhstan, the United Arab Emirates, and Iraq, are already producing well above their targets. Notably, Kazakh crude oil output reached a record high of 1.8 million barrels per day following the startup of the Chevron-operated Tengiz oil-field expansion project. This puts Kazakhstan some 390,000 barrels per day above its OPEC Plus output quota. In addition, several countries in the group have committed to compensate for earlier overproduction in the coming months, which may negate most of the increase. The significant drop in oil prices rattled the US shale patch, with firms arguing they need 65 barrels dollars per barrel on average to profitably drill new light tight oil wells, according to the latest Dallas Fed Energy Survey. New tariffs may also make it more expensive to buy steel and equipment, further discouraging drilling. With arduous trade negotiations expected to take place during the coming 90-day reprieve of tariffs and possibly beyond, oil markets are in for a bumpy ride and considerable uncertainties hang over our forecast for this year and next, says the International Energy Agency. That's all for today. I hope it was interesting and entertaining. See you next week.